What's happening, everybody? Welcome to another episode of CANiVISION. With us today, we have Libertarian candidate. He's leading the charge for a recall election against Governor Gavin Newsome, who's in office right now in California. Great brother representing Fresno by way of the Midwest out in Milwaukee. No, we got to keep it neutral on our end. So I'll be asking a couple of pointed questions, and we're going to hear what Nickolas has to say a little bit about business, wellness, community, and why he is the best alternative to Gavin Newsome. What's happening, Nickolas? How you doing today, brother?
Excellent. I truly appreciate you inviting me on to the show.
Wildstar.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm actually the Libertarian Republican candidate for governor. I'm running as a Republican, but I've been a liberty activist since the Ron Paul 2012 presidential election. I was introduced to libertarianism by him before that, but got involved in this campaign for president. Wanted to promote the idea of libertarianism, minimizing government, reducing taxes, ending occupational wars, restoring our rights, of course, and of government accountability. I think that's something that we can all agree upon, no matter what your political background is, but pretty much got me introduced into libertarianism, and I was the 2018 Libertarian candidate for governor. And I got about 12,000 votes then. I got shut out by the mainstream media, so I had my work cut out for me, pounding the pavement and all of that. But I got lots of attention, enough to where now that audience has grown even more. I have over 200,000 voters ready to go for my next campaign. So I'll be running as a Republican, but again, promoting the Libertarian Party platform.
One thing that is actually, it's a bit perplexing to me that we don't have more African-American candidates running outside of the Democratic Party. Why do you think that is?
Mainly because of the tribalism that political parties have kind of developed in our society. I mean, straight out of high school, when you're Black, you're promoted to vote for a Democrat and told the Republicans are evil. And then they prop up examples. You got Bush and, now Trump. And it just deters people from wanting to get involved in the Republican Party. Of course, when you're Black in the inner cities, most likely you're facing all of those type of issues like low income and, affordable housing and drugs and police abuse, all of that stuff. When you hear these politicians address these issues and propose solutions for them, you get excited about it, and people got excited about Barack Obama and what he said he wanted to do about getting Wall Street out of politics. But then once he got elected, it took him $500,000 from Goldman Sachs, bailed out the banks instead of we the people when there was a recession going on. So they hype us up on what they can do for us on the campaign trail, and we really feel like a rock in the hard place. We're divided because if you jump on a Republican bandwagon, now you're supportive of everything that the Republicans stand for. And nowadays, due to mainstream media, that's white supremacy and authoritarianism by backing the blue and all of this other stuff, when really that's not ideally or principally what anything that the Republican Party is about. So it's about reestablishing the freedoms and liberties that our country was founded on. And if the Republican Party is supposed to be the party of limited government and lower taxes and all of that, why aren't they doing that? So it's a matter of getting them back on track as well as the Democratic Party. But it's sad that we haven't gotten over this dualistic thinking to where we feel like we must choose between the lesser of the two evils. We got to vote for a Republican or we got to vote for a Democrat. When I was running as a third party candidate, people would tell me, oh, I would vote for you, but I'm going to throw my vote away by supporting you. I got to vote for one of the main, mainstream parties. But at the same time, they speak against it. They've proven throughout their decades in power that they haven't served you any benefit at all. And especially with Democrats here in California, we have a Democratic controlled majority government with governors, with the state legislative body, et cetera. So
Right.
if you haven't seen how they've benefited you in any way, then why would you continue to support them? Why would you not want to try something different? And even if that person is just wearing that label for namesake, like running as a Republican, why would you let that deter you from wanting to support them, even if they're talking about the real issues that affect you the most, a way to alleviate them? So even if it is a libertarian that comes along, Green Party candidate, independent, whatever the case may be, we should be putting principles over political parties. And it's a matter of getting representatives in there that stand for those values that we can all relate to and agree with, to shatter that image. That's what I plan on doing once I'm elected governor.
As a Black man myself, a lot of that resonates with me personally. Um, I think what we saw going down with the last election, you saw a lot more Black support for the Republican Party. Um, Yet when Ice Cube spoke up, he was speaking out of turn. And a lot of the backlash that I would hear publicly is now is not the time. What would be your response to people saying like, now is not the time for you to say this, to say that? Now is the time for us to heal, and we need to get behind the Democratic Party, because the Democratic Party is, sorry for the Freudian slip there, the Democratic.
Sounds good to me.
If you use that, make sure you put me in the footnotes.
Indeed.
Right. The Democratic Party hooked on the Democratic Party. And what does that have for us? We're in a worse place in terms of the economic wealth gap.
Right.
You don't really see any difference when it comes to economic mobility generationally. Our communities are still suffering. What does a libertarian option have to offer that would be better for the Black communities?
Economic freedom. The one thing that Martin Luther King was killed behind, and even Coretta Scott King said this herself, was that he, towards the end of his life, started speaking about economic freedom and us having some equity when it came to this country and what it has to provide to us opportunity-wise. So I applaud Ice Cube for at least starting the conversation, because we need to be demanding something from our politicians. And he did exactly that. He put it on the table and said, we need to have an economic plan for the Black community, for us to create more opportunities, for us to be able to have the funding to create our own banks, create an infrastructure where we have the financial support to strengthen small businesses and better our schools and have cleaner parks, or even parks at all for that matter. To want to be able to fund these things, we need money to make that happen. Very wonderful that he stepped up to the plate to demand that from the Republican Party, or both parties, really. The Republican Party just happened to respond to him, so he claimed. For me, as a person that knows how money works and that we borrow money from the Federal Reserve, and I just see offers like that where reparations is a solution, just digs us even further into debt. Black, white, whatever the case may be, we as taxpayers, Americans in this country, if we continue to borrow money from a central bank, which is the Federal Reserve, it's going to dig us deeper into debt. So whether we're bailing out banks or bailing out Black people by way of reparations or whatever the case may be, we're ending up having to pay for it one way or another. The libertarian solution for that, and what I'm offering to do as a Republican candidate, is eliminate those barriers, especially when it comes to monetary policy. Why isn't cryptocurrency now being something that we shouldn't be able to utilize in our day-to-day purchases? It exists, and it's definitely something of value. Why aren't we able to use gold and silver? And these are ways to strengthen our buying power. Of course, it's a matter of Black people out there being educated about this type of information and how inflation of our currency takes away our buying power. That's why you can't afford to pay your bills. That's why you can't afford to buy a home or a car or, more clothes for your children or whatever the case may be. Put them in private schools, all of that stuff. If you increase the buying power of your dollar, now you level the playing field. Now you are able to compete against those other groups that may have more, or were given an inheritance or some type of step forward. So if we can, again, level the playing field in that area, and of course, with me also wanting to eliminate a lot of taxes, the income tax, property tax, gas tax, all of these payroll taxes, if we eliminate the taxes, then now we have more money in our pocket, whether you're the employer or the employee. It comes first with the matter of us wanting to have that determination of self to where we want to go out there and get it and then build it. We can't be reliant upon other people to give it to us. We've been in that position for too long. We shouldn't be asking for a seat at the table when we have the ability to build our own. It's a matter of gaining the resources to make that happen. So with me as a politician, of course, got to be neutral on policies and only can say so much being a Black man, but I'm aware of these things enough to where I can make those changes policy-wise to, again, benefit the Black community, benefit the most disadvantaged people in our communities that haven't had the opportunities as others. So we definitely should not be afraid to start the conversation. We've held off that for too long. And something that we want as a Black community is equity. How do we get that? If Black Lives Matter as an organization is out there, protesting, marching, and getting out that message, then that would change the narrative, and with police accountability, why are we not demanding that they carry life insurance or, liability insurance? That way, if they shoot and kill a Black man or a person of color, they have to pay for that out of their pocket instead of that coming out of taxpayers' pockets. Now, Black, white, everybody can agree on that because, when these police shootings do happen, the financial responsibility of paying off those lawsuits to the victims, families, whatever, falls on taxpayer shoulders. So we got to change that. And it all boils down to money to me. I just connect the dots and see where all of these issues come back to money. So if we change the way our money is being circulated and the way we look at it and the way we utilize it, then we could definitely strengthen ourselves and in return, strengthen this economy in our country.
Speaking of equity, social equity is a hot topic in the cannabis industry. What are your thoughts on social equity? And do you think that is a plausible path into legality on a federal level?
Well, definitely. It's being considered right now in Congress, and with the president, of course, being supportive of it, it's a possibility that we could have the legalization of marijuana in our country happen this year. But how would that benefit Black people? You have the MORE Act that's now in play in legislation, thanks to Kamala Harris, the
The No
proponent
More
of
Act.
exactly the No More Act. and Prop 64. And if anyone does their research on these two pieces of legislation, you find out that it only benefits the larger corporations, the people that have the most. It's worded in a way to where it's supposed to help the disadvantaged people of the community, or those people that have had those barriers placed in front of them to prevent them from that obtaining that equity. It's going to do more harm than good. And it's sad that they again word these pieces of legislation in a way to where um, we read it and or we hear about it more so through news outlets and articles, press releases, whatever the case, and they make it seem like it's going to help us and it's going to build up the inner cities and give those smaller businesses an opportunity, when really you read the fine print and find out, well, wait a minute, there's loopholes here. And unfortunately, they're so small, not many of us can fit through that. And we're finding out that now with the way that they're passing or giving out these licenses, they're picking and choosing. And everybody has had a play in that, the pay into play. And I think that's actually been exposed out there in Los Angeles County, as well as San Diego. So there's a lot of money to be made in that process, which is why I believe it needs to be eliminated altogether. Eliminate the barriers again, give you an opportunity. Now it's just up it's up to you to just go and get it. So if you remove that need for licensure, then now you have an opportunity to just get that business going and not have to worry about anything holding you back. When it comes to us demanding more, we definitely should be demanding that we have our freedoms intact. It's unfortunate that these bills that are passed only benefit those people that, are financially well off and have the thousands to spend for obtaining these licenses or do farming or whatever the case may be. But if we change that part of it, then I believe there would be more freedom for the individual. And that's what I want to focus on, is heightening individual freedom, since that seems to be the biggest restricting thing for us all.
Cannabis actually helped me as a former college athlete. It helped me kick my own addiction. And that's what actually led me on my path, like out of um, corporate finance, like into the cannabis
Mhm.
industry on the legal side. I quit my 10-year career, got in this industry because I didn't know a lot about it um, on the medical side. I didn't know about like cannabis as medicine, but I do know that I didn't need to take pills anymore. I was Ambien, Zoloft, and Norco, because Vicodin didn't work anymore for me after getting addicted to that first. Um, what are your thoughts on cannabis as wellness, as medicine for the community? And how can we do a better job of educating the community on the benefits?
Absolutely. Well, I myself am not as educated as I'm sure you are about the medical benefits of cannabis. I enjoy it more so for recreational purposes. But those people that are out there that are, using marijuana for a medicinal purpose, definitely should be given the platform to be heard more about how it can be advantageous for not only us as a society, but economically as well. It's sad that the mainstream media and the news outlets, want to kind of suppress this information to continue, playing on the stigma that weed is bad, and don't give the opportunity for a lot of medical reports to even be given the light of day. So it's very commendable that you are doing this with CANiVISION to give, those type of stories the light of day and an opportunity to be heard. But I think really what it boils down to is just the media outlets. It's sad that we have to turn to citizen journalism when the mainstream media kind of controls everything, and they have the money and the power and the influence. And if they're in the pockets of big pharma, then how does that help benefit the marijuana industry? When they're the ones benefiting off of that Zoloft and the
Right.
Norcos and all of these pharmaceutical drugs being pushed by these big corporations. So you have big money versus small money, and the big money, it's been here for a long time, and it has deep roots in the medical industry in itself. They want to be able to benefit from the success of cannabis. They want to be able to control the conversation about the benefits of cannabis. We can't allow that to happen. As consumers, as well as people of the community that want to rely on other holistic medicine and natural remedies opposed to something synthetic and manufactured. I mean, we're seeing that happen now with this whole COVID crisis, where people are becoming more independent on the medical professionals and the medical industry for a vaccination versus them coming to them and saying, how can I heal myself naturally? Is there some healthy water that I can drink to flush myself? Is there some foods that I should be incorporating into my diet? Or going outside and getting in the sunlight, is actually even proven to have benefits as well. But they're not speaking about that highly either in the news.
I think like the meaning of doctor is actually teacher.
Right. We're not listening to all of the teachers, but then again, all of the teachers aren't being given an opportunity to be heard. Why is it that Fauci, what's that?
And they're all getting, all the people that we know as doctors this day and age, they're getting kickbacks for giving out.
Yes.
For giving
exactly.
out like treatments rather than preventative care.
Yeah, because I mean, there's a economic opportunity there. Why is it that Fauci is the nation's doctor? Don't we all have our own doctor, to turn to, our own physician to get a second opinion from, at least? Why are any other health professionals that are coming out with other points of views being shunned simply because they have an opposing view? That shouldn't be the case. And unfortunately, that's happened to marijuana, which is why it's had this kind of shadow over it until now, where we're seeing pretty much just the generational change be put into positions of power where we have an opinion ourselves. And it's that weed isn't that bad as they make it seem. It hasn't killed anybody. You can't overdose on it and die, unlike, methamphetamines, which you can get over the counter from prescription drugs from doctors. It's sad that it's been around for so long, but we are seeing that shift happen generationally. Hopefully it'll continue, and we'll continue to be able to educate more people along the way.
So at CANiVISION, we believe that the cannabis industry is a three-legged stool. You have the business side, you have the wellness side, and you have the culture, the lifestyle. You take one of those legs away and everything falls apart. And I think that's what really separates the cannabis industry from all of these other industries. It's not big pharma, it's not big tobacco, it's not big alcohol. And the difference that it has for pretty much from everything else, our industry is built from the culture. Over 100 years of prohibition now, that was built off of racism from the beginning, and it's only intensified due to government sanctioned racism, and all the way up to the Nixon tapes, where we found out that, you know, the war on drugs, when it was really gaslit, you know, it was really started. The reason why a lot of these companies that are large and trying to come into the cannabis industry, that they're failing and they continue to fail, is because there's no connection to the community, the culture, the roots of this industry. Everything came from the streets. It came from the people. Um, I've always said, you know, cannabis up until 2017, it's been a libertarian's dream. We have been self-regulated. We didn't have any problems with the no vape crisis. We didn't have any problems with pesticides or anything like that until it was legalized and you had these large entities come in, and until you had all of the all these people coming in with ulterior motives that were tied into the greater system that they've been hooked on. And so now all of a sudden you're saying, oh yeah, the trap is the problem. Oh yeah, you know, these crazy people up in the Emerald Triangle, they're the ones who've cured cancer. They've actually like cured cancer. They've shrunk tumors. They Graves' disease, migraines, like you name it, addiction, like me and my story, right? So how do we, you know, I view the cannabis industry as a microcosm of the greater United States, right? Um, how can we really empower the people in the cannabis industry in a similar fashion to the way that you've been empowered through libertarianism, and you've actually seen the light, and the light being the power needs to be coming from the people, or our republic will fall.
Absolutely.
How can we build upon that?
Community involvement. Actually, it's funny that you should bring that up, because yesterday I was speaking with Daryl Cotton, who is the founder of 151farmers.org.
Love that dude. Shout out to Daryl.
All right, definitely. Shout out to him indeed, because I think he's doing a wonderful thing by pretty much creating these sustainable farming units to where it can be propped up anywhere in the inner city, and do urban farming, you know, community gardening. And that's something that I think definitely needs to be incorporated into our community. What I plan to do and am promoting to do as a governor. I think that would be an avenue that we can use to help educate our youth about the benefits of farming altogether, whether it be cannabis, fruits, vegetables, all together. It's something that we can all benefit from as a community, or hemp, of course, because it has multiple benefits. You can build homes with hemp. You can use the oil from that hemp to then power that home, or an automobile for that matter. So
everything around us can be built by hemp, and it can be built better.
Exactly, build better and build stronger. And I think that's a way that we can, again, utilize those types of organizations to give us the tools, so we can learn more about how we can learn to cultivate it in all its shapes and forms, and create more products from it. But you're right, with regards to letting these larger industries in and the corporations, it's going to take away that aspect of culture. If we reinstate that, then we have an opportunity to take that back. As long as they continue to have people in positions of power to benefit them, like our current governor, you know, then that's not going to help benefit us at all. Exactly, for now, until it gets recalled. Yeah, it's sad that you have synthetic marijuana, genetically modified marijuana, and cannabis even on the market, and they allow it to happen. You know, I trust buying weed from the neighborhood weed man versus, you know, some of these dispensaries, because you don't know where you're getting it from with them. And because with them, they only are able to purchase it from a licensed grower versus an independent, you know, grower or vendor or whatever the case may be. And those have to be state approved. So whose pockets are they in?
Charge of the state. Do you trust that person?
Exactly. Who governs the governor? Nobody does. He governs himself, and
Right.
if he's someone that is self-serving and wants to make sure that he is, more financially well off than most, everybody wants to get rich. They have that desire in them. I don't. I think wealth comes in different ways, and one of them is not money. you know
Yeah.
Money can help create that wealth, but my family, my child, way of life, where I'm more focused and community driven, that does not come from money. That comes from something that can't be bought. you know and if we had more community leaders in office, then I think that would change that aspect. You should probably run for office yourself, get you elected. Change some of these policies from the inside. That's another way to alleviate the threat from these larger corporations taking over, changing the culture, changing the product itself, and posing a danger to us all, putting those tools into the hands of the people of the community.
Right. Man, I love it, man. This has been great. I can go all day with you, brother. Hope to have you on again very, 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 very soon. I got lots of other stuff I want to shoot your way, other questions. So everybody, thank you so very much, Nickolas. Nickolas Wildstar, not World Star, but you got
Wildstar, World Star.
But I heard you got bars though. I heard you got bars.
Oh, yes, for sure. One of these days.
You got to do it, man. No, definitely appreciate you, man. Nickolas Wildstar, Libertarian Republican candidate, recalling Governor Newsome. And if you could leave the good people at home a little bit of information of where they can find you and of initiatives you have coming up in the immediate next couple of weeks, so we can actually put the word out to our community too, please.
Absolutely. Well, please, of course, visit my website, wildstar2022.com. That's wild like an animal, star like in the sky, 2022.com. Please get involved in my campaign. I'm a grassroots candidate. I'm not funded by these large corporations or big bankers or lobbyist groups, special interests, whatever the case. I'm only fueled and charged by people like you. So get involved with the campaign. I'm growing my team, Team Wildstar. We need more staffers, so contact me so you can get involved. And of course, if you want to put your money where your mouth is, I need those dollars so I can fight fire with fire, because the Democrats and Gavin Newsome, trust me, they're going to pour tens of millions, if not hundreds of millions, into this election to try to suppress our voice. And we want to make sure that we're heard. So please contribute whatever you can today and spread the word. Like I said, I'm on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Connect with me. Share my posts, videos off of my YouTube channel. And I do have a debate coming up March 1st, California Governor's Recall debate. So check out yescalifornia.org. I'm on their board of trustees and was able to elbow them into putting together a debate for candidates. So that's going to be happening March 1st. So definitely look out for that debate and spread the word about my campaign.
Oh, man, love it. Good luck on everything. I'll be checking into the debate. We're actually going to let our people know about that too. Appreciate you, brother. Stay safe. Take care of the family up there. And I gotta check you out next time I'm up in the Central Valley, my man. Appreciate you,
yes,
brother.
Indeed. All right.